Welcome to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast with your host, Warren Andrew Pinder, author and speaker.
Welcome to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast show. This week's episode is called Your Name is All You Got. I was given the name Warren Andrew Pinder at birth. My father's name was Warren, and he left a great legacy, one that has opened doors for me over and over and over again. But we take for granted often that one thing could do, there can be one thing that can spoil our good name. So it's something that should be guarded. When we go out there and we give to the world something that we cannot take back, it stays. Remember that today, what you're doing to be branded, to be called a thief, to be called someone that's unreliable, to be called, a homosexual, to be called something that is undesirable for you to have been named, knowing that you're a child of God. It's hard. It takes a lifetime to try and correct. You would be going after it over and over and over for the rest of your life, trying to correct something that you at the time may not have taken time to understand that, it may have been a mistake, but it tarnished your name. Once your name has been tarnished, that's something that people look at you. It could affect your job. It could affect your family. Someone could lie on you, and literally, you got to defend that. Your name is all you got. That's your judgment name. So you need to hold that sacred. That's honorable to you. You don't let people talk about it lightly. You don't allow a person to castigate false truths about yourself. You hold that at the end of the day, your generations to come behind you can be proud of your name. See, like I said, my father, I'm proud of my father, to have been named after my father. My father was a good man. And I hear it even today, even though he's been dead for years. Persons that see me and say, boy, your father, was an upright man. And that's what you want to do. So when you're out there right now, you have to govern yourself that your name can carry on when you're gone. So we need to try and make sure that the decisions that we make and that what we decide to do with our lives and how we act accordingly, things that we get into are things that are respected. When you begin to do things that persons look at and they look at you in an ill manner and they disrespect you and they begin to tarnish your name, that could be real, real hard to change. Your name is like your ticket. Your name is what nobody else can say that they can own. There are persons that are named just like you. You just pray that they're not of a bad persuasion. But that's another fight that you can find yourself having to battle. If there's someone that's named, Warren Andrew Pinder, and that person is a fraudster, or that person is a child molester or something, that's a battle that I could be fighting for the rest of my life, because every time I go somewhere, that name is flagged in a lot of systems around the world, and it could stop me and prevent me from doing what I want to do and going where I want to go. It's funny that, there's a friend of mine that I met coincidentally through the fact that he had the same name as I do. It just so happened that as kids, we ended up in a hospital together. I went to the hospital for a broken arm. He had a broken foot. And when they put up the x-ray, which should have been showing my broken arm, it was showing his broken foot. And that was the first time that I met him. They called him Andrew Pinder. And they called me Andrew Pinder. So that showed that there was someone else like me. Subsequently, I went off to school. I went to Texas Southern University. He went to Tuskegee State University, both, abbreviated TSU. And, we had a check was given to me to give to the school, but the check that I got was for Tennessee State University. And he took my check with him, the school, which was for Texas Southern University. So we had to reach out to each other and try and get these checks exchanged. Later on, I had an incident where, we came back home and I was teaching and, funds went to my bank account for that Andrew Pinder. But it wasn't until, months later that someone contacted me and said, we made a mistake and it was, funds. Andrew Pinder, at that point, Andrew Pinder was Andrew Pinder. Rightfully so. We corrected. He got his monies back. So there are a lot of things that happen, but it's how you govern yourself. It's how you take your name to be sacred. So when you go out there, people give you these aliases, right? They call you, like, for instance, for me, I'm called Drew. Some persons call me Drew. My true name is Warren. So that's why you hear me saying Warren Andrew. But, so that it was understood, I said this before, that because rather than having my father both calling us both Warren, they called me by my second name, Andrew, in my household growing up. But as I got older, for instance, now when I travel, I can't book a ticket in Andrew. Even though a lot of persons growing up to me in school may know me as Andrew, but I can't book a ticket in Andrew because I have to use my name since 9/11. I got to use Warren Andrew when I put my passport through. So this is something that, your name is a document that's really staple to you, your character, who you are, who you want to be, what do you stand for. So if you go out there and you begin to do a lot of fool, your name is going to follow you. If you do good, your name will follow you. Remember, you are trying to leave a legacy with your name. That's what you want to do. That's like what my father did. My greatest mentor always said, your name is all you got. Don't mess with my name. Your name should be a strong statement. When someone, you don't go at persons for every little thing. But if they go at your name, someone could call you a sissy. That you're not a sissy. You don't have to defend that. You don't have to get all riled up about that. But if they call you a thief, if they're telling that you're a thief, that's something you should take, you should address that, especially if you know you're not a thief. But when you are a thief and you get that name, that's not a good thing. So your name should really be something that you're proud about. You build your whole character around your name. Every single thing that you stand for, you defend your name. When they come at you and they blame you falsely, you got to stand up. You have to stand up, but the same way you have to really represent yourself so your name could be honored. When persons know you as a shady character, murmurs go out, antennas go out. Hey, don't trust him. He's that type of person. Don't give him that job. Man, his name is, they talk about it. His name is out there, man. He's gonna swing you. You out there and, the police know that name. The police looking for that name because someone said, that sound like that's him. That sound like that's something he would do. So that's a negative connotation that is thrown behind your name when people begin to just point you out because they figure that's your character. The character that you personify will follow you, and your name is what people associate with what your character personifies. So you have to actually, and it's the same thing. People don't know you, but they have the right to talk about you. So what you give to the world to talk about, you must be careful because you may be doing something jokingly, or you may be doing something that's, because you're angry, or because, you didn't think, but that can follow you for years and years and years.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
And the thing about it is that you don't want certain things to be put on you. You don't want persons to know you as being, a child molester. You don't want someone, a womanizer, all the worst things in the world that you can call a con artist. You're nothing but, you're someone that You can't, in no which way, man, be careful when that name is called. No one wants to do business with you. No one wants to be associated with you. So you have to guard your name. You have to make sure that your name is not slandered. You have to actually be able that when your name is called, you don't have to turn around, or, it's not the police calling your name. You don't have to, you want to be where your name in the presence of persons and they say, oh, I know him. Yes, he's a great man. I can vouch for him. Not when you go to ask someone for a recommendation, they say, yeah, I'm going to do it. But the minute you turn your back, who do you think I am? You think I'm crazy to write a recommendation for him? This is that's why we have to live our lives so that name is greater than us. See, it's the things that we do that persons would associate us with. Helping people, being a man of your word, being a family man, being a provider, not being before the courts for child support, not being before the police, that a judge could say to you, you're here again, running and dodging and having to give the police a wrong name because of some dumbness you did. I saw a young man, just like the police asked him a question. He said, what's your name? He gave the name, a fictitious name, and the police, man, I know you. I know you. And he's like, my name is such. And the police is like, no, that ain't your name, boy. If you lying to me, it's an automatic lockup. You better tell me your name. And he's like, yes, sir. I was just scared, man, 'cause I didn't want y'all to really be, on me, because I clear right now. I don't have nothing on me. And he said, but you lying to me. You giving me a fictitious name. So when you that's some of your name things that you're into, you're not proud because you can't even give the law your name. And this is what we're doing. We're running and dodging and, we're doing, like I say, dumbness on the road out there in an alias, brothers with monies and so forth, back in the day, they're trying to get fake documentations because, what? They did some fraud shit or they did something that they know that they can't call their government name because of something that's following them. And at the same time, so when you're doing right, you need to stand up. So, you have to actually, hey, wait, my name is all I got. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not going to let anybody tarnish it. I'm not going to let anybody put me in a position that I cannot be proud about my name. Or I'm not going to do it to myself where my name can't be called anywhere in public because of things that I've done. When you're living like that, that's going to catch up at you, man. That's going to catch up at you because you can be a model citizen. You went and you were christened and, your parents celebrated naming you that child. But because of you not taking on a godly character, you can't even take the name that your mom wanted you to have. You had to change that. And I wouldn't even talk about those of you who, not sure what you wanted. You changed your name because it sounded sophisticated or it sounded like it suits my character. So your name is a serious thing, man. You want, at the end of the day, you want your name that your children can look at you and your children can be proud to say that my name is Warren Andrew Pinder. Remember, you have to actually, at the end of the day, you have to be something that if you can't read or write, right? A lot of persons will learn to sign their name because they know that if you're lost, your ID associate with yourself. When you need the law and someone's looking for you, missing person, they give that name. That's what the law understands. So it's something, that we all can dodge. We can't run away from it. There are persons that have done so. They've changed their whole life and they have gone and, underground. They've just gone into a dark world because, they're afraid or they're hiding because of the name that they're created for themselves. On this road today, you out there and you building that name and the character. Just look around right now at the old G's around. Those that were smart, with those alias and so forth, they stayed away from the law. You may know them as a character of, running the roads or having stripes on the street. But those that stayed away from the law are those that are able to tell the story. And if you listen to a lot of them that tell the story, the haste that you're in right now to build that name, or to have so much under your belt, or to have, everyone afraid of you, or you making that mark, trust me, it will catch up at you. Your name will catch up at you if it's the wrong name that you're trying to put out there. At your weakest moment, someone's going to call your name. So let your name be honored. Let your name be one that's honorable. Build your name as if it's something ordained. Understand that we are all built in the image and likeness of Jesus. But we need to try and the same way his name is to be honored, we need to understand that we being created by him, we need to honor our name and build upon that name, build positive attributes that can be remembered by those who call your name. It's all right on the road being named Scarface, but you don't think if someone named you Scarface, you got to live up to that? Think about it. They call you Screw. It's like, what, you're supposed to be walking around your face screw all day? So be careful. These AKAs and nicknames that you're picking up, that persons are putting on you. Persons begin to believe that that's your character. So you want to try and really think about, what do you want persons to say about you? When you go looking for a job, you want your name to be because of persons knowing that you have done something positive. They've seen you working in the community. Your name is being called, or a teacher could recommend you in a church group, a neighbor. The police, when you're trying to join the police force, they'll call you and they'll ask, do you know such and such a person? And a lot of times, like, excuse me, who's calling? But if you're a good person, and they say, look, your name is John Antonius, and you know that John Antonius is that young man that opens the door, and the young man that sees to it, and he's always speaking to young children and trying to help them, you can gladly speak to them and say, oh yes, he's a great man. I think he's deserving of whatever it is you're calling about. But if you know that person is one who always dodging when it's time to help someone, or someone that may be broken in someone's home, someone who's trying to bully, can be trusted around anyone, you can stay far away from giving a recommendation for such a person. So we must always just remember, your name is all you got. Live by it. Live up to it. Live for it, that it may live on. You've been listening to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast show. In all you do, take action.
Thank you for listening to the Warren Andrew Pinder podcast. We hope you were encouraged and moved to take action. For more information about Warren Andrew Pinder and his book, Achieve Men, visit www.warrenandrewpinder.com.